Hello buddies, welcome back to yet another interesting video. And today I made this super soft, delicious, breathtaking cinnamon rolls. Let's do this together. So first, I started by making my filling. I measured out 100 grams of butter or margarine, measured out 80 grams of sugar, 25 grams of cinnamon powder, 25 grams of milk powder. Then I made sure that I combine everything together just as you see, and I got this cinnamon butter. Okay, cinnamon butter. This recipe requires you to use butter, but in the absence of butter you can make use of margarine as a second option, just the way I did mine. So once I was done, I set that aside. Then I went ahead to prepare my dough, and for the dough recipe I measured out 1 kg of flour. To that I added 130 grams of granulated sugar, 15 grams of milk powder, 15 grams of salt. I added about 1 teaspoon of milk flavor, added 1 small egg that weighs 30 grams. Then I added 11 grams of instant dry yeast. Next I went in with water. I measured out 470 grams of room temperature water. So I used this to combine the dough to this extent. So once I was done combining the dough to this point, I added in 50 grams of margarine. Okay, so after combining my margarine or incorporating the margarine into the dough, I added the remaining part of the 470 grams of water that I measured earlier. Okay, so once I was done adding the water and everything, combining this way, I added extra water. So in total I used 500 grams of water to make this dough. Okay, so once I was done adding the last batch or last part of my water, I transferred this into my mortar. I used the pounding method to pound this dough so that it will soften. So once I was done pounding the dough, I brought it back on my work surface and then kneaded it a little, wrapped it up for 20 minutes. Okay, now after these 20 minutes, I went ahead, divided this dough into 2 parts or into 2 portions. Now after dividing the dough into 2 portions, I took one of the portions and then rolled it out just as you see in the video. You can roll it out as thin as you want it, but I just roll it out thin but not super thin. Okay, so once I was done rolling the dough out, I cut off the excesses because I want it to have square edges or have clear edges. Okay, I don't want it to be rough at the edges. Next I scooped in and spread out my cinnamon butter that I mixed or I made in the first part of this video. After that I went ahead and rolled this or folded this up just as you see in the video. Okay, so you can fold your cinnamon roll as you want it, whether thick or thin, just the way you like it. But this is how I wanted it because I'm making this, or I made this for sale. So I have a target, I have a size I'm looking at, I have the shape or how I want it to be. So after rolling it up this way, I marked it, I measured it out so that each cutout will be of the same size. Then you can use a twine or you can use a thick thread, something that you can use to cut the dough just as you see in the video. Okay, you don't need to use knife to cut. If you use knife to cut it, it's going to clinch at the edge and it may close, so you need to use your twine or a thread to cut it. Okay, now this one I didn't cut it or do it the same way I did the first one. I did it in a different way just as you see in the video. After cutting it into 2 parts because it's not that big as the other ones, I just made incisions on it just as you see. I scored on the dough just as you see in the video. Then I had to place all this on my baking tray, covered it to rise. Okay, so this one is the second one that I did after the first one. Okay, just the same way I did the first one. Roll out, apply or spread out my cinnamon butter, then I fold it up and cut it. Now I had to cover this to prove. So while they are proving, I went ahead and used the remaining part of my dough to make a different designs. So like I decided to show you all another way or some other ways you can fold or you can make your cinnamon rolls. So it may not always be the same way that I just did it the first one. So you can shape or make your cinnamon roll in any way or any shape of your choice. Okay, so this second one here is another way you can make your cinnamon roll, okay, depending on your choice. I want to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to all my subscribers, all my followers. I am super excited. I'm very happy each time I see your engagement, I see your comment, I see your likes, I see everything you do for me here. I am so happy. Thank you all for the engagement and everything. So once I was done making these ones, just the same way, I placed them on a baking tray lined with a baking paper, cover them to proof. So these ones I proofed them for 1 hour 30 minutes. Okay, so after that I had to bake this in my preheated oven at 150 degrees for up to 45 to 50 minutes. Okay, or you can bake according to your oven temperature. So once they were out of the oven and still hot, I brushed them with some margarine. You can brush yours with butter. You can see my cinnamon roll came out super soft, very delicious. Someone bought this and asked for more. Just one. He tested one and requested for 4 of these cinnamon rolls. You can see how this tasted. And this one is the second one that I did. I hope you all love this my cinnamon buns recipe and you're going to give it a try. And please, when you do, don't forget to let me know in the comment section how it turned out for you. Bye bye.